When commands fail, when there's backlash or even overshoot and collapse, this happens for one of two reasons. Either there's a failure of authority or a failure of legitimacy. The first one, failure of authority, happens when the president fails to justify their decisions. And often this is because there's a failure to understand all the variables that are going to go into the decision. So this might be a problem with uh, managing a small group dynamic and allowing groupthink to take over, as arguably happened in the decision to try to launch the Bay of Pigs invasion. That is one of Kennedy's failures. Now, the failure of legitimacy, is the failure to actually adhere to ethical and legal norms of behavior. So this is, maybe they knew what they were doing. Maybe they were able to justify the decision, no problem, but the decision, justified or not, was using power that the president just didn't have. And at this point, Congress or the judicial branch may step in and say, no, 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 you can't just say, yeah, I want to do this and it's the right thing, so I'm doing it. You don't have that power. And this is the case in Truman's steel seizure. That was a failure because the court said the president did not have the authority to nationalize steelworkers. However, it was not a failure of authority in that it was a justifiable thing to do and ultimately did result in averting a strike. But again, failure of legitimacy because the court said Eisenhower did not actually have that power. So you can see here that failure of authority is they just don't justify it well. That often means that the public disagrees and very possibly the other branches as well. But these kind of failures lead to backlash and sometimes overshoot and collapse. Now, the other type, failure of legitimacy, can again lead to backlash or even overshoot and collapse, because in this case, the other two, one or both of the other two branches will check the presidency, right? This will trigger that checks and balances, and there will be pushback on the president's use of this power. So failure of command can happen for either of these two reasons.